Live. I'm Tina Wells from Living Delicious Nutrish, and today we are on week 3 of our Whole30 prep. Today is actually day 10 for our group, and everyone is doing amazingly well. I'm so proud of my whole group, and it's been really exciting and fun. The biggest group I've coached so far, and everyone is just really getting into it. So it's been a lot of fun for me to see everyone so motivated. And that's what January does for us, right? So a lot of the recipes that I typically do are very simple and quick to put together. And some of them have a little more involved ingredients. That's what this one is today. But I actually split it in half so I can turn it into 2 casseroles. This is my favorite Whole30 dish. I have to tell you, it's so delicious and you won't even miss the bun and you won't miss the cheese. It's a cheeseburger casserole and it starts off with some onions, garlic, and ground beef. And I already have that going because you guys have seen me brown ground beef a million times. In fact, I did it with lamb last week, so we already know the process. I actually started with 3 pieces of bacon and I cooked the bacon and then I saved the bacon fat, a little bit of it, to brown the meat in. So I only used one pan, worked out really well. So I sauteed the onions, which I diced, and then I threw in the garlic until it was fragrant, and then browned the beef and added a little salt and pepper. Now to this, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of ketchup. And this is Whole30 compatible ketchup from New Primal. The Noble Made is just so good. I will never go back to regular sweet ketchup that's filled with all of those terrible corn syrup ingredients and other things. It's just tangy and sweet naturally from the tomatoes. I'm really a big fan of this one. And I'm just going to stir that in. It's not going to get saucy like a tomato-based marinara. It's just to give it the flavor and hold it together a little bit. And then I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup also. Sorry, I think I made a mistake. That was a 1/2 cup of the ketchup. And this is a 1/4 cup of mustard. And again, I'm using the New Primal Dijon mustard, which contains no Dijon, so it's totally Whole30 compatible. And I'm just going to stir that in. It's smelling like a cheeseburger in here already. And that's all there is to the meat mixture. I'm going to grab the casserole dish and show you how this goes together. I just have a small casserole dish that I already sprayed with some avocado oil spray. If you're going to use a spray, make sure it's a healthy oil, not a refined oil. I don't like the canola oil sprays, but this avocado oil is available pretty much anywhere these days, and it's really good. So just going to put that into this casserole dish. I started off with 2 pounds of grass-fed ground beef. And I like the grass-fed ground beef because it actually contains more nutrients. Do you love my pan? This is my new made-in carbon steel pan. And you season it just like you seasoned a cast iron pan. And nothing sticks. It's better than nonstick. And who wants those chemicals in their food, right? I'm going to stick to the nonstick carbon steel. Let me throw this in the sink. Oh, maybe you know, maybe you don't, I don't know. My dishwasher is on the blink, so I'm really grateful that I have my husband and son here because they have become my dishwashers. So I just spread it out so it's nice and thin and makes a nice, even, compact layer. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to show you how I put together the mashed potato topping. Now I've already cooked some white sweet potatoes until they're fork tender. Just boiled them in some salted water and drained off the water. I used the Hannah sweet potatoes. Let me grab one. I want to show you what these look like. This one potato is like a pound and a half. And when I call for a pound and a half of potato in the recipe, this is why. I mean, you're peeling and dicing up one potato. I love these potatoes, but you can use any potatoes that you like. If you can't find the Hannah sweet potatoes, use whatever potato you like. I prefer these because they're not a nightshade, which is something that I try to stay away from. So I'm just going to put the cooked potatoes into my mixing bowl. I love my KitchenAid mixer. You know about old Bessie. She's been with me for a long time. Today she's messy Bessie. She's got some leftover stuff crusted on. And to this, I'm going to add how much mayonnaise? Let's see. I have a quarter cup of avocado oil mayonnaise that I'm just going to add right in. And the avocado mayonnaise is totally Whole30 compatible. Let me get my spatula here and get the rest of this off the spoon. You want it all. And do this while the potatoes are warm. I did cook the potatoes in advance, but they are still warm. And then I'm going to add about a quarter cup of nutritional yeast. This is what gives it the cheesy flavor, but there's no cheese in it. You know, cheese is essentially yeast anyway. So this adds some delicious nutrients and gives it a nice cheesy flavor. I buy this in the health and beauty section of my grocer, or if you have a health food store, but it's also available in the spice section these days because so many people are using it for cooking. They're actually doing a smaller container in the spices section of your grocery store. So, you know, 6 years ago, I could barely get my hands on this stuff, and look at this today. Hey, us. So I'm just going to put this on the mixer with the paddle attachment and turn it on. I like to let the potatoes start to get nice and smooth, and the mayonnaise helps to smooth them out and give them a nice consistency before I add any more of the ingredients. If you add liquid ingredients to something hard, even though the potatoes are cooked, they're still denser than say the liquid coconut milk that I'm about to add. You're never going to get it smooth. So you really want to use the paddle attachment, or if you're using a hand mixer, to get that nice and smooth before you start liquefying it and thinning it out. I'm going to see if there's anyone with me here today. I've got a whole new setup here, doing live with something different, and I'm not sure if it's streaming or what it's doing. Oh, here we go. Yes, Paige, hi. I know you love this recipe. You love when I come over and when you guys come over and I'm making this. I'm just going to turn it off and scrape it down a little bit. And I'm so relieved that my new setup is working. And that's looking really good. I'll show you how it's smoothed out already. And you really don't want, well, maybe you like lumpy potatoes. I like mine to be a little more smoothed out. So I'm just going to let that go a little more. And I have here some garlic, granulated garlic. I like better than garlic powder because it doesn't have as much salt. It's just dry granulated garlic, and some onion powder. I'm just going to add that in. And finally, about a half a cup of coconut milk. This is completely dairy-free, no cheese and no milk. No one knows the difference. And it's delish and nutrish because we are packing this casserole with lots of nutrients. And I just love casseroles when it gets cold out. Yes, I'm in Florida. I know I'm in Orlando, but it's been chilly here. We had 37 degrees one morning, 42 the next morning. You know, we remember when this happens because it's not that often. So now this coconut milk is going in. I just used canned coconut milk, unsweetened organic canned coconut milk. It really is a great substitute for dairy. It's great in my coffee. I love it for everything. I'm going to scrape this down one more time. I like to make sure that everything is getting nice and incorporated. And if you're using a KitchenAid, make sure you scrape the bottom of the bowl because sometimes the paddle doesn't come in contact completely with the bottom of the bowl. So one more whip on that, and they're going to be ready to go. And this is so quick when everything's done, but I assure you, once you have all your ingredients laid out, it comes together in a snap, and it only needs to bake for about 20 minutes in a 400-degree oven. And those are done. They look nice and smooth, and they are a little thinner than what you would do with a regular mashed potato for two reasons. One, you want it to be spreadable, so it's okay if it's a little thinner. And also, it's going to thicken back up again when you bake it. So this way, it serves both purposes. Nice and smooth and creamy. Just going to dollop these all over the top. Again, if you follow the recipe on the website, in the directions, it does call for 2 pounds of ground beef and 1.5 pounds of potato after it's peeled, which is a pretty good sized potato, probably about 4 cups diced. And I'm just going to spread this out over the top. You can see it's nice and spreadable. And it makes a lovely creamy layer. It's almost like shepherd's pie, but it's got that delicious cheeseburger flavor. Now I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'll be right back with the other one that's already finished for you to see. Yum, look at that. You can see the potatoes have gotten nice and toasty brown on the top, and it's hot. And it's bubbling. The juices are bubbling around the edges right there. And here's one of my favorite things. What do you love on your hamburger, right? Whatever you love on your cheeseburger, you can throw onto this casserole. As I said, I cooked the bacon first, and then I browned the meat in the bacon fat. So now I'm just going to chop up this bacon. Makes a delicious topping, gives it a nice texture because it's a little crunchy. I think I'll do 3 pieces. Calls for 3 pieces. Let's not be stingy with the bacon. It's a healthy fat, and it's a great protein. I'll show you which bacon I prefer. I love the bacon that I get from Butcher Box. Butcher Box meats are sustainably sourced. They care about their farmers. The farmers care about the animals. If you're going to eat meats, get the best meat you can get. The box is $149. There's enough meat in there to last you a month. I promise you, it's just so delicious. But I couldn't show you that particular bacon today because we ate it and I'm all out of it. But I do love also Peterson Farms bacon. You can get a private label version of that bacon at Whole Foods. There's no sugar, no nitrates, no nitrites. It's basically sliced pork, okay? And when you cook it, it's delicious. It's sliced nice and thick. They also have an applewood smoked. This is the hickory smoked. So give these bacons a try. And I've got some sliced scallions just to give it a little bit of extra oniony flavor. I love to cut my vegetables on a bias. Not only are they pretty, you get more surface area and more flavor. I'm just going to put those on top. If you like red onion, you can do that instead. Change it up to be what you prefer. And last but not least, olive, my pickle. These guys have been around for a long time. I used to see their booth at the Flagler Farmers Market when I lived in Flagler Beach, and the farmers market there was fabulous. I would go every Friday, and they had a booth with all of their olives and fermented goods. Their sauerkrauts are amazing. I highly recommend. And look at these garlic dills. Are they beautiful? And whoops, run away. There's olives and whole cloves of garlic and onion in this bag of pickles. They're delicious. And I'm not even a huge pickle fan, but these will change your mind. So I've diced up some of the pickles. I think they'll be delicious. I mean, who doesn't love pickles on a burger, right? And that is cheeseburger casserole, my friends. It is completely Whole30 compliant. It's delish. I love to serve it in a big bowl. I mean, who doesn't love a delicious bowl of comfort food when it's a little chilly outside? I'm just going to scoop right into this. I do like to let it sit just a little bit right out of the oven so it's not too squishy. But look at that. Creamy and delicious cheeseburger casserole. And you can put your favorite toppings. Some avocado on here would be delicious. So that's what I have for you today, cheeseburger casserole. The recipe's already on the website. It's an old recipe, so either search it by cheese in the search function, or I will have it as a featured recipe very soon. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Living Delicious Nutrish, like my Facebook page, Living Delicious Nutrish. Everything's Living Delicious Nutrish. And we're really enjoying Whole30. I hope you join me one time if you haven't done it yet. It really is life-changing. And I'm so pleased that you could join me today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.